Hey Dave, how's it going? Just got your message again.
Hey Donnie, how are you?
Now you sent me a message that you read. Actually, it's a comment that you read on one of our videos lately.
Hmm.
I'll read it off here to make sure we're talking about the right comment. This guy asks, can spinning a chain backwards on a chainsaw be harmful to the worm gear and oil pump? By the way, great video. So I know you were wondering that as well because you mentioned that in the message to me.
Yeah, so I saw that comment, and sometimes when you're setting the bar up on the
Yeah.
chain, the chain up on the bar, and you want to make sure everything's in line. I've never even thought twice about spinning a chain backwards and any potential ramifications on the worm gear and the oil pump. Um, is that like what am I thinking here?
So the ramifications, spinning it so slowly like that for next to nothing.
Okay.
I don't recommend it, and my mentor doesn't recommend it either because some of the gears are made to be directional. They're
Right.
just spinning one way, and if you start to go backwards, because those parts are so used to spinning forward, they may bind a little bit, and sometimes the shaft that is on certain worm gears on steel chainsaws, it might tend to spin off the nylon part that is the gear,
Right.
and you end up having to replace that part. But there's a very low percentage of that happening, okay?
Okay.
I mean, I've done it, I've never had an issue, but at some point it could cause an issue. So basically, when it comes to causing damage to your oil pump and the worm gear, it's next to zero.
Next to zero, but I
But
mean,
but it's a habit you shouldn't get into.
okay. So whenever you're setting it up, forward always.
Yeah, and there's always a chance that you could cause damage, even though the probability is low.
Okay.
Now, the biggest reason that you don't want to spin a chain backwards is because oftentimes when you're spinning it backwards,
Mm-hmm.
it'll jam.
What do you
Okay,
mean? What do you mean?
like you'll be spinning it backwards, and because the parts are so worn, they're used to spinning forward,
Right, directional, yeah.
so they might bind. So here, you know what? I've got a chainsaw on the stool here.
Okay.
I'm just going to show you an example. It may or may not bind, but I want to show you the dangers if it binds because it's happened to me.
Okay.
And I cut my finger.
Ooh, not good.
Okay, so that's why I want to tell you guys that. So I've got no gloves on. You shouldn't do what I'm doing. You shouldn't be spinning it backwards, but it's a bit harder to spin it backwards.
Okay.
If you see here, I can spin it forward a lot easier. But what can happen is if you're spinning it backwards, and if you've got like a big 3/8 chain, like on a MS 461 or something like that, it's like a
Mm-hmm.
super chisel chain. And if you're spinning the chain backwards and it binds, your finger's going to get caught right in the tooth, and
Oh,
you're
okay.
pretty well guaranteed to cut your finger.
Right. I guess if you're spinning it forwards, you don't run into the same risk of cutting your finger. That's a good point.
Exactly, you won't. And if you do need to spin it backwards, make sure to wear gloves like you have right now. Yeah, you've got some good leather gloves. So if I'm going to spin a chain, I always wear gloves. If I manually sharpen a chain, sometimes I wear one glove. It all depends, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
Okay, so just to reiterate, there's next to no chances to damage your oiling parts by spinning it backwards, although there could be a slight chance. And the biggest reason you don't want to do it is, like I mentioned, you could end up cutting your finger if that chain binds.
Got it. Okay. That's good to
And
know.
it often happens, Dave.
What was, do you remember the guy's name there that asked that question? Do you have it pulled up there?
Yes, I do. Hang on here.
Just want to thank him for asking that because I had no idea. And that doesn't ever get talked about, I feel. So,
Oh, no, that's a good question because I sometimes I forget to mention things in our videos here.
okay.
Jakub Pasevic.
Cool.
So we want to thank you, Jacob, for sending the message. Dave and I, pretty well, we read all the comments. We do appreciate your positive comments. Just comment, guys. If you think we forgot to mention something, just mention it in the comments. I like that you contacted me about this, because I thought he's thinking about just the mechanical side of the chainsaw, but I was thinking more, oh man, I don't want Dave to start spinning his chains backwards if he's sharpening them by hand, because he could cut his finger.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, Donnie.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks for being on the video again, Dave.
Yeah, no problem.
Also, everybody watching, make sure you subscribe to Dave's channel. The link is under the video. Make sure you're subscribed to mine and that you're following me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a great day.
See you, Donnie.
Okay, bye.